Hi, this is Julie with Three Sisters Sundries. Today I am working on a fun Halloween wood project, and I just wanted to show you how I'm going to put it together. So I got this cute wood thing or wood set, I guess it is, kit, at the Denver Stamp and Scrapbook Expo from Affordable Scrapbooking. And I didn't buy any of the paper or anything from them because they didn't have it there. They had it at their shop, but I am not from Denver, so I wasn't able to go pick it up. So I picked out some papers, and I have now painted all my pieces. I've got 2 coats of paint on all of my pieces. I've painted the back and the sides and just left, and I did paint over the edge of the front. So I've just left the front blank, and that's where I will apply my paper. So this is what it will look like, this little spooky, and I have painted my little face pieces, so there will be paper under those. And I just wanted to show you how I'm going to glue on the paper. And I've got this one, the paper's already cut, but I want to show you how I'm going to trace it on the other papers. Now I've picked out, I have to try and remember which one goes with which. I think this goes with the S. So I've picked out this for my S. It kind of matches the lighter orange. So you need to make sure that your pieces good side down, and you turn your paper over to the wrong side, and then you're going to trace. Where's my pencil? I know I have one out here somewhere. And it's going to be a little bit difficult to see on this particular paper, but I am going to do my best. Okay, and then I'm just gonna, it is really hard to see. I'm going to cut this kind of down a little bit so it'll be easier to cut out. And then I'm just going to cut around kind of on the outside of my pencil line, just on the very outside of the pencil line. I don't know if you can see, you can kind of see the pencil line right there. So I'm just going to go along the very outside of it. Okay, so you're getting the idea of how to cut that out. Now, I've already got my skull cut out, so I am going to show you how to glue that on. So I've got some wood glue. This is Doris wood glue, and hopefully it's still in decent shape. It's kind of old. Oh, can't even get that off. Let's see. Whoa. Okay, I'm going to put a little bit on my piece, and then I'm going to use a brush. I've just got this little brush here. Let me move my mat over. I'm using a Tim Holtz craft mat, so hopefully the glue won't stick. And I'm just going to brush it very evenly across my wood piece. And it looks like I might need a bit more glue. Let's see. Tiny bit more. I think I'll just put it on my paintbrush. Okay, and then just finish covering my paper here. Okay, you need to make sure it's really close to the edge, so that, or right on the edge, so that it will cover. I'm just going to move that out of the way, and then I'm going to put my wood piece on here. And this is why I painted up over the edge a little bit, because sometimes, if you can see, the paper is not quite to the edge. I will try and get it there, but yeah, when you cut it out, it sometimes does not exactly match your wood piece after that. Yeah, I've got a little, probably could move it up a little bit more. See, and the wood glue is forgiving enough that you can kind of, you have a little bit of working time. Okay, so that one is glued on, and I've smoothed it out really well. So I'm going to set that aside to dry, and I will be back and show you how to finish the edge. Okay, it's been about 20 minutes and my paper is dry, my glue is dry. So now, if you can see, I've got a little bit of the edge of the paper hanging off. So what I'm going to do is file it away. Instead of trying to cut it, it's just too hard to cut, so I'm going to file it away. So I have a few files to work with. This is a Making Memories file that's got several different grits, so I'll use those. I've also got these, I've got 100 grit and 220 grit of these little, of one filing pad, so that's a little rough, but I may use that 220 grit. I also have, well, my best tool will be emery boards. If you can still find these at the store. I've had these ones for a while, but it's got a rougher side and a smoother side, so this will be a really good tool for buffing. Also, for the really tight areas, I have these finishing files by Close to My Heart that I got years ago too, and they work really well. There are 3 different edges. There's a kind of rounded one. I don't know if you can see. It's kind of rounded on this side and then flat on the other. This one is a triangle. No, wait, it's a square, so it has good corners for getting in, like tight corners, and this one is just round for getting in some rounded corners. Anyway, I'm just going to start filing. Well, first, kind of go around and bend down all your edges so that you know where you need to file. I think I'll use this kind of rough one first, and you just file down from the edge of the wood, or from the top edge, I guess you could say. And this is really messy. You get a lot of paper shavings everywhere, so just know that when you get started. And if I'm gonna be taking off a little bit of the paint as I go around the edge, but I'm going to ink the edges with black, so I'm not too worried about that. And as you can see, I'm kind of getting the edges off, and once they are weakened, you can kind of rub along the edge like that and take off the excess paper. Okay, now I've got this really close, or this kind of tight corner here, so I'm going to take my little rounded file and get in the edge. And if you don't have a rounded file like this, then just try with an emery board to get around those corners. I think the emery board's probably the easiest to use anyway. Maybe I am too close, aren't I? Oop. There we go. So just keep going around and taking off the edges. I will do that to this piece and then I will be back. Okay, I've got my black Distress ink and I'm using Tim Holtz Distress ink in Black Soot. And I've got my little sponge tool, so I'm just going to daub and then just go around the very edge of the paper and the wood. So just get a little line right around the edge. Now I'm kind of a little bit worried about this corner, but I think I can get in there. Yeah, I get in there pretty good. So just go around the edge of the whole thing. Okay, so my piece is all inked. Look how cute that looks. I love that look. And since it's Halloween, it gives it a little bit of, I don't know, spookiness, but a little bit of interest. Okay, so here are my pieces. And they are wood also, so I am going to glue those on with the wood glue. And then I also have a little button to put on this eye, so I think I will use some Better Ultimate Adhesive to put that on, but we're gonna do the wood pieces first. So just very carefully along this little skinny, oh, let me clean off my glue bottle a little bit. This is kind of a little tiny, so I don't want it to ooze out too much. Okay, and then we'll place that on there. And push down good so it gets good adhesion. And then we'll do the nose. And then his little gear eye. And as you can see, I just painted the fronts of these wooden pieces also, because the back isn't going to show anyway. And they were, some of those little tinies were kind of hard to paint. Okay, so we'll get his gear eye on there, and we'll just move the button aside for now. Put his other eye. And then let me get my, this is a brand new bottle, so see, it looks like I don't have to do anything. Okay, I'm going to put a little bit on my wood piece and a little bit on my button, and then I need to wait 1 minute for those to set a little bit, and then I will be able to put that on. So I'll be back when my minute is up. Okay, my 1 minute is up, and I'm just going to put my button down on his little eye. And there is my little 1-0. So I have got all the pieces of paper glued to my other letters. So I will get those all sanded and my other Frankenstein face glued on, and I will come back and show you how it all turned out. A few tips that I have thought of as I've been filing these. As long as you are filing away from the paper, any little corners that might not have gotten glued will be okay until after you get it filed. Like, I have a few little tips on this little Frankenstein's hair, but as long as you are filing away from the paper toward the back of the wood, or toward the toward the wood, I guess, then those little pieces will stay down until you can get them filed, and then you can glue them. And I've noticed that I have had to use this little metal file for his hair, because it is, these little corners are really hard to get into. So anyway, if you do a project that has really tight corners, a little metal file, even if you couldn't find these, maybe they have little metal files at the hardware store that you could use. And also another thing I've noticed, I did this K, and this paper was a lot thinner. It was not cardstock. It was just very thin paper, so it went really quick, but it also has a white core. So if you're doing a project that has white core paper and the core shows up, then just ink. You can either ink with the same color that you are using of paint for the wood. You could even dry sponge some of the paint that you've used to paint with. You could just put that on a sponge and very lightly ink the edge of your paper to cover up that white core. Anyway, those are a couple of tips I was thinking of as I was filing. So I'm going to continue on. Okay, I've got my little wood pieces all done. So let me show you from this other angle. I'll have to move you a little bit, but here it is, all done. I really love the way it turned out. I think it's so cute. The papers I used and the inking on the edge really made a difference. So there you have it. My little wood spooky. So thanks for watching.